This is Jacob's Chapter 9, Lesson 4. We covered Lessons 4, 5, and 6 today in class. Remember, Lessons 4, 5, and 6 all cover the same thing, multiplying polynomials. So the base thing to learn from this lesson is how to multiply polynomials together. So I'm going to show a couple of different methods and show you that they all give the same answer. Let's say we have x plus 3 times x plus 4. First thing I'm going to do is the box method. With the box method, we draw a box. That's not a very good box. Let me get rid of that. We draw a box. There we go. And then we put some grid lines in it. There we go. Okay, so the first thing we have is x plus 3. So I'm going to write an x here and a 3 here. And then x plus 4, so I'm going to write an x here and a 4 there. So now what I do is I work this out like a multiplication table. This first box here is going to be x times x, which is x squared. This second box is in the x row, and it's in the 4 column. 4 times x is 4x. This box in the bottom left corner is in the 3 row and the x column. 3 times x is 3x. And this last box is in the 3 row and the 4 column. 3 times 4 is 12. So we can add everything that's inside of this box together, and that will be our answer. So we have x squared, that's our first box here, and then 4x and 3x can be added together because they're both telling us how many x's we have. We had 4 and then we got 3 more, so we have 7 x's. And then we also have a constant 12. So that is one way of working out x plus 3 times x plus 4. Another way of working that out, I can write this down here again, x plus 3 times x plus 4, is to distribute the terms in this first parentheses across the terms in the second parentheses. So I can take this x here and multiply it by x plus 4, and then I can take this 3 and multiply it by the x plus 4. X times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 4 is 12. Notice these two terms are the same as what we got right up here. These two terms are the same as what we got right there. And so we add the 4x and the 3x together to get 7x, and we get x squared plus 7x plus 12. Okay, the other way we can do this, we can write x plus 3 times x plus 4. This way usually takes more practice, so it's usually best to wait until you have some more experience. We're going to take our first term and just straight out multiply it by everything in the second parentheses. X times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. Now we're going to do this with the second term. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 4 is 12. The 4x and the 3x can be added together, and we get x squared plus 7x plus 12. This method that I just showed you is often called, sorry, that got left out, is often called the FOIL method. First, outer, inner, last, because we did the first terms, x times x. Then we did the outer terms, the x times the 4. Then we did the inner terms, 3 times x. And then we did the last terms, 3 times 4. So these are 3 different ways of multiplying. This box method up here is very handy when you have long and confusing things to multiply. It makes sure when you use the box method, you know that you have actually multiplied out all your terms. It's really easy to leave out one of your terms with one of these other 2 methods. Okay, so now to go on to doing some actual examples. Let's see. First one we're going to look at is number 4. This one, when asked to multiply 24 by 15, Obtuse Ollie wrote this. He wrote 24 times 15, and he wrote that that was 120 and then 24, and got an answer of 144. What is wrong with this? Okay, well, this first line here is obviously the 24 times 5. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10 plus that 10 plus that 2 is 12. So 120 is 5 times 24. 24 is obviously 1 times 24. But you have to remember this 1 is not just a 1, it's in the tens place. So it's actually a 10. So this should be written over here like this. It should be 240. So you either need to put in your leading 0 here, or you need to leave that space blank. And then our answer becomes, when we fix it, okay, so I'm just going to scribble that out because that's not going to print nicely. Our answer becomes 360. Okay, now we can also do this with our box method. 24 can be rewritten as 20 plus 4. And then 15 can be rewritten as 10 plus 5. And we can use our box method to do this. So let me write this out because you have some problems to do like this. Get my grid here. Okay, so I have 20, I have 4, I have 10, I have 5. 1 times 2 is 2, and then I add my 2 zeros, so that's 200. 10 times 4 is 40. 20 times 5 is 100. 5 times 4 is 20. When I add up all these terms, 200 plus 100 is 300. 40 plus 20 is 60. And I add all that together to get 360. Okay, so this was number 4, which is very much like number 9. So now we are going to look at number 5. Number 5 is very much like number 10. It says, do each of the following multiplication problems by arithmetic, then draw a diagram to illustrate each problem and compare it with your solution by arithmetic. So I'm going to work out one of these problems. 206 times 93. Okay, let's multiply this out. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 0, well, that's 0, and then I add my 1. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, now I'm going to do my 9, so I'm going to start off with a 0 because this is actually 90. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 0, that's just 0, so this is going to just leave a 5 there. 9 times 2 is 18. So this adds up to a large number, 19,158. I can also do this with the diagram method. So let me draw myself a little box here. And then I can put in my grid lines. Okay. Now across the top I have 200 and I have 6. And across the side I have 90 and I have 3. 9 times 2 is 18, and then there's 1, 2, 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3 zeros. 6 times 9 is 54, and then I need to add that 0, so 540. 2 times 3 is 6, and then I need to add these 2 zeros. 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, so when I add this first column, 18,000 plus 600, that is 18,600. And then I need to add this second column, 540 plus 18 is 558. And when I add all of that together, I get 19,158. So we get the same answer, which we should. If you don't get the same answer, then something is wrong. So for number 5, I assigned only 2 of these problems instead of all 3. You need to work it out the regular way and then work it out with the diagram. Okay, now let's look at number 6. Number 6 is just like number 11. For number 6, they actually give you a printed out multiplication problem in grid format, and you are supposed to say what the multiplication problem and answer are. Make sure that you actually answer it too. Don't just write out the problem. Okay, so I am going to draw the box for this. So this is one of the problems here. We have a 4a and we have a 3. Over here we have a squared, 6a, negative 2, 4a cubed, 24a squared, negative 8a, 3a squared, 18a, and negative 6. So these are all the values that are shown in the picture. So what is this actual problem that's worked out? Well, we can write out the multiplication problem. If there is no sign shown, then it's understood to be a positive. So the a squared is positive, the 6a is positive, the 2 is negative because it's got a negative sign, the 4a and the 3 are positive. So the problem that this works out is 4a plus 3 times a squared plus 6a minus 2. Now, what is the answer that we're shown? Well, we've got 4a cubed, and then we have 3a squared and 24a squared. So if we had 3a squareds and then we got 24 more of them, we would have 27. Whoops, that's supposed to be a 7. 27a squared. And then we look at our a's. We have 18 a's, and then we take away 8 of those a's. So we have only 10 a's, and then we have a negative 6 left. So the problem is 4a plus 3 times a squared plus 6a minus 2, and our answer is 4a cubed plus 27a squared plus 10a minus 6. So that is what they want you to do for number 6, which is just like the homework problem number 11. Make sure you write out your final answer. Don't just write out the problem. Okay. Next one we're going to look at is number 7. Number 7 is just like number 12. It says make a diagram to illustrate each of the multiplication problems, then use the diagrams to find the products. If the problem says to make a diagram, I do want you to use a diagram. Except for that time, you don't have to use the diagrams. I do recommend that you use them, but you don't have to. Like I said, if the problem says make a diagram, do make a diagram. So I'm going to do one of these problems, 5y plus 2 times 3y minus 1. Okay, I'm going to make a grid because I like the grids. So let me get a grid here and draw my lines across. Okay, now 5y and a positive 2, 3y and a negative 1. Okay, top left box, we have 3y times 5y. 3 times 5 is 15. Y times y is y squared. Top right box, 2 times 3y. 2 times 3 is 6, and then there's also a y. Bottom left box, negative 1 times 5y is negative 5y. Bottom right box, negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. What is our answer? Making the grid is not sufficient. We have to actually get our answer too. So 5y plus 2 times 3y minus 1. Well, our first box is 15y squared. And then we have 6y and minus 5y. 6y minus 5y is just y. And then we have a negative 2. So that is going to be our answer for number 7. This is part B. You just write out your diagram and work it. This is number 7, which is just like number 12. Okay, so we are going to move on and look at number 8. Number 8 is just like number 13. It says multiply as indicated. You can use any method you want for this. I do recommend the grid method, but you do not have to use the grid method. So let me put one up here. Let's try 7x minus 3, minus 3 times 3x minus 7. So I'm going to make a grid and then put my lines in it and see if I can get this done before the time runs out. 7x minus 3, 3x minus 7. Top left box, 3x times 7x is 21x squared. Top right, negative 3 times 3x is negative 9x. Bottom left, negative 7 times 7x is negative 49x. Bottom right, negative 7 times negative 3 is a positive 21. So the answer to our problem is 21x squared. We have negative 9x and negative 49x. That is negative 58x. And then we still have a positive 21 left. So that is how you work the problems in number 8, which is just like number 13. You can use the box method or not. I recommend using the box. That is all.